Lashpreneur. Today's Q&A day, and we have a question from Jess Angel Beauty. And quite honestly, this question has been popping up a lot with my students inside of the Lashpreneur Society. And it's also something that I'm actually actively working through as I'm recording this episode, which is a few weeks before it's released. So by the time you're hearing this episode, I'm in a great place. I'm just future casting that. But Jess asks, how do you manage your time between business, family, and free time? She finds that she's dreaming lashes and dreaming brows, and when she's not working, she's Googling or researching or learning or growing, and when she's not doing that, she's managing the business and social media and paperwork, and she loves what she does, and she's passionate about it. Thank God for that, right? But all this passion for her career leaves her too tired for family and life. And amen, sister, I 1000% feel you. And this is where I kind of have an issue with the word hustle, because it gives this illusion or this feeling that you have to work so hard for so long and do the hustle without the results, or that if you just work more or work harder, then you'll get the results. And that can oftentimes come at the sacrifice of your personal life and your relationships, which a lot of us wanted to get into business for ourselves, to have freedom with our time and with our money, and to be able to take time off when we wanted to, or spend time wherever we wanted. We wanted to have a little more control over our schedule. And sometimes we get addicted to the hustle that we forget what it's like to slow down. And that's something that I'm definitely really, really struggling with and working hard on in my own life, is to stop living in that chaos and that hecticness of the hustle, and to really start to enjoy the business, the journey, and not so much be focusing on the end destination. That's been something I've been working on for over a year now, and I'm still not there. But I do have some suggestions and just kind of my own strategies that have worked, and ways that I handle overwhelm or drive or achievement, and how I approach it in a way for me that's a little bit healthier than how I used to operate. So by the time you're listening to this episode, I will have already moved. But right now, here's what's going on in my world that makes it so relatable to what Jess is asking, is like how to find that balance. 2 weeks ago, or end of June, my community manager had her baby 3 weeks early. So excited for her. We have been waiting for this moment since I asked her to be a community manager, because she wanted to get pregnant. And he came early, so it was a little unanticipated of her being out that quickly. And so I have stepped up to kind of help out, and the rest of my team members have too. I also had my assistant, who just dropped off the face of the earth and is no longer with the company. It's fine. That's just the way it goes sometimes. I have also just spent a week at my in-laws in Oklahoma, where, it was family time, and I was focusing on family time. And this week, my parents, who are the main primary care for my daughter while I'm at work, are out of town on vacation. So mommy's trying to balance work and juggling toddler. And then next week, I'm leaving for Australia for 10 days. So that's a fun 21-hour, 24-hour flight, depending on my layovers. And then I'm there for 10 days. And then I come back, and then we move into our new home that's beautiful and big and empty. And we don't have furniture to fill it, because we're moving from like a small townhome into a bigger house. So this is where my stress level is, in trying to balance all the things. And straight up, the conversation I had with myself 2 days ago was, there just are not enough hours in the day for me to get done everything I need to do. So, and that's not a joke. Like, there's literally too many things on my plate to do that I can't do them all unless I don't sleep. And everybody should prioritize sleep. That should be number one. I'm not giving up sleep. I have 2 kids. I gave up enough sleep for them. I'm getting sleep now. That's not the thing to go. So moving on into kind of my teaching points for this episode, what I recommend first and foremost, when it starts to feel a little chaotic, a little stressful, a little being pulled in a lot of different directions, you feel the tension that your priorities are not in the right place, is focus back to your priorities. So I've talked about in past episodes how you goal plan or how you prioritize. And again, we're looking at what fulfills us, both in our life overall and in our business, and finding the combination there of making sure we're getting life things done and business things done, because it's not like we can just stop one forever and, it'll run easy peasy and maintain itself. It does need our input and our attention to it. So prioritize. So for example, for me, that means that, okay, childcare. I have to get childcare taken care of. We moved some things around with the preschool that my daughter will be watched during certain days when I have obligations that I cannot miss. one of them being a lash appointment, right? Girls can't miss that. No, but in all seriousness, if I'm going to go to Australia for work and teach, I need my lashes done. I don't have any other time to do it except for this one day. So I prioritized that my daughter was going to be taken care of. My husband came home early today so that I could work. We figured it out so the children were taken care of. And I know tomorrow that I don't have childcare and I'm not going to be working. So I just have to shift my priorities. And maybe that means that I'm staying up a little bit later to do some work, but that my husband will take the kids to school in the morning or whatever. So coming up with the priorities that, yes, my children need to be watched. That's not something I can really put lower on the list. Work is always going to come second to family because, nobody's there to watch my 1-year-old if I have to go to work. So I need to make sure that she's taken care of. Next thing with work, and this kind of leads into point number 2, is what is true urgency with a deadline and what is made up urgency and a deadline. And this is really important because we as business owners think everything is important and urgent, but in reality, it's not so much. Like, we don't have a boss that's hovering over us. Maybe we have a husband or a boyfriend who needs us to make money, but really, if you drop the ball on something, if you lay out all the balls that you have, this is getting weird, and you choose which ones are going to get your attention right now because you cannot juggle all of them, then what really isn't a true urgency? So for me, moving, my kids, the school starts next month, August 14th. That is not a deadline I can move or miss. My kid has to go to school. I have to register them. I'm probably already too late for it anyways, but I need to make sure that their schooling situation is prioritized. Me planning, the next promotion or special I'm going to do, or me planning out my social media strategy, there's urgency to it because I know I need to do it, but that's not an actual hard deadline. That's self-inflicted. It's not true urgency that there's a deadline I have to meet. It's really made up urgency in my own head, in my own heart, that this is something I have to do. But in reality, do I have to do it? Is the world going to collapse if I don't post on social media today? Or if I, don't post for this week and I move on to the next week? It's really not that true urgency. It's just this pressure we've put on ourselves. So I want you to look at what is a true urgency and what is kind of a made up urgency because you really want to do it or you committed to doing it. That kind of leads into the third point of, do I need to say no to something? Eesh. This is a tough one, and I get it. Most of us are people pleasers. We're yes women, right? We love to please people. We want to make sure everybody's happy. And sometimes that means that we say yes when we really should say no. And no is not an easy word to say. And a lot of times, at least for me, it's saying no to myself and the things that I want to do because I just don't have the bandwidth for it, or I just have the capacity. Because saying yes to something means I am saying no to something else. And as an example, today, my daughter wanted to play bubbles outside and I needed to do some engagement on social media. Here we go again with the urgency. And so me saying yes to working during that time frame meant that I didn't get to engage with her and do bubbles. And so she just sat there and watched TV, which to me was kind of the give and take. I'm saying yes to work right now because that'll make me feel less stressed if I can get some of these things off my plate right now. But that also means that I'm not being present with her. And so I'm saying no to her by saying yes to work. So that's just something to consider, is that when you do say yes to things, you are saying no to other things that you may want more, and to really weigh what that is. If I say yes to taking a client after hours, what is it I'm saying no to? If I say yes to researching more or Googling more or social media, and if I'm committing to posting 4 days a week, what am I saying no to? Am I okay with that exchange? If I say yes to working 7 days a week or working 12 hours a day, what am I saying no to? Likely a long-term career in this industry, right? It can be that big of a picture that if you say yes to things now, that in the long run, you're going to be getting further away from what it is that you actually wanted out of your business. And last thing, this is what I actually just got done coaching on in my membership in my society, was, when is enough enough? And I think this is a conversation that we as entrepreneurs have to have right off the bat. Because if you as a mom or as a business owner do not have a clear picture of what is enough for you, you will always, always be pushing for the next thing. you will never feel like you have enough, that you are enough, that you have enough money, that you have enough clients, that you have enough time, that you have enough quality time with your kids, enough quality time with your husband. It will never be enough. And you will constantly have this narrative that you're never enough. So you will continue to be an overachiever and a workaholic and somebody who dives into work, because work we can control a lot of the times. Like, we can just do more things, whereas personal relationships, family, sometimes those are complicated and we can't control how somebody else is acting or responding. We can only control us, and us wants to go where we can control, and that's work. Work we can control. At least that's, for me, that's kind of how it appears in my life, is when I feel like there's things that I can't control at home, it's less appealing for me to kind of stick with it and stick it out than it is to focus on work and have my time and energy go there. We are also in society very rewarded for overachieving in business and in work. That's just our society, where we're heavily regarded, and success is really, really rewarded in our industry and in our world. Whereas family success can be subtle, right? Like, people just assume that everybody's family is happy. Maybe not everybody, but they assume that things are good on the home front. So when you look successful, it looks like you've got everything together, but it can be very messy in the personal life while success is happening over here. And so having that conversation of what is enough, and oftentimes it has to do with a dollar amount, can really help relieve you of this overworking, of this unhealthy relationship with work and your business. Because as business owners and moms, nobody's coming in to save us. Nobody's coming in to say, okay, you're done for today, please go home now. Or you're done being a mom, you can take a break now. You don't get time off when you're a mom or a business owner unless you give it to yourself. And that's where self-care comes in, because honestly, self-care shouldn't be a luxury. I don't know why it seems like this thing that we as mom and business owners do, where it's like, oh, I should be doing work, or I should be spending time with my kids and not taking care of myself. I will come last. For me, that was modeled by my mom. My mom's like the total martyr. She'll do everything for everybody else and kind of put herself last on the list. Sorry, Mom, that's just how I perceive it. But it's detrimental, because the things that we want to do, we want to be present for our families. We want to be 100% all in on our business and thrive in both areas. If we're not okay, if we're not taking care of ourselves, then none of those other things happen. And this happened to me twice over the past year, where I wasn't prioritizing self-care and I tanked. I mean, it took several months of me neglecting myself, but when I hit rock bottom, the 2 times that it happened this year, I was useless to care for my business and for my family. So this whole trying to put off self-care because I'm lower on the totem pole because other things are more urgent, right? Again, that made up urgency. The urgency should have been, Tara, you need to step back. You need to take time off. You need to relax. You need to learn to relax. You need to go to yoga. You need to meditate. You need to breathe. You need to drink. I don't know. But it took me hitting rock bottom to go, okay, I can't keep this up. I'm useless. I'm not a good parent. I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good business owner when I'm in this state of being depleted. And I am responsible for filling up my own tank, not anybody else. Nobody's coming in to say, like, you should really go take care of yourself. My husband tries, bless his heart, but I am not the type of person. I love to feel needed and to achieve things, but I also need to learn to be okay with not hustling, and to let the business and the life be in maintenance mode and not always try to create more, because I need to be enough. The money that I make needs to be enough. The impact that I have needs to be enough. And then we can grow from there once we're settled and we're in a healthy place with it. So rounding back to Jess's question is, how do you manage your time between business, family, and free time? That is getting clear on the priorities of really what's most important to you, not what you think other people think is your priority, not what Instagram makes your priority, not what other lash artists in your area think is your priority. What is your personal priority for yourself first, your family second, and your business after that? Then make decisions based on those priorities. Also, what is the true urgency? What really has a deadline? And what is something that you just made up because you're feeling pressure to achieve something or to get to the next level of whatever? Do you need to say no to yourself? Do you need to say no to someone else? Do you need to cancel plans that you already have? That's the best thing about having kids, is you can cancel plans anytime and nobody questions it, right? And be like, oh, Timmy's sick. Like, sorry, can't go to, your cousin's nephew's birthday party that's 3 hours away. I'm just saying, could happen. But what is it you need to say no to? And stop overcommitting yourself, thinking that you're superwoman and that you could and you should be doing everything for everyone. And define for yourself what is enough. When you have a clear picture on what is enough, then it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, because you know for you, your personal core values, your personal business values, what it is that's going to fulfill you and be enough for you to feel amazing about the life that you've created. So if you want to stop wasting your time and get some more clarity on all that, especially when it comes to your lash business, I do have a free workshop series coming up at the beginning of September. Be sure to follow me on the Lashpreneur on Instagram or facebook.com/thelashpreneur to be notified when we release the video workshop series. You are not going to want to miss this. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. Have a good one.